The city of San Diego is trying to become one of the nation's smart cities. That means installing infrastructure like this, a smart streetlight, which can analyze data in real time. But there are still a lot of questions about whether this type of technology is secure. And many of those questions are coming from residents like Brian Walker, who works at a tattoo shop downtown.
So it's like, what's the purpose? And like, who's the company that is the third-party source that's doing all this monitoring, and what are their intentions in the first place?
At the city administration building downtown, Eric Caldwell, director of economic development for San Diego, says it's only the city that's collecting data from these smart technologies.
And here it's monitoring for parking. So it's giving us parking information. It knows how many cars are parked and when they've come in and out.
And the intention, he says, is to help the city save money and become more efficient.
It's about taking information that you already have and putting sensors into the urban environment, sensors into your workflow, so that you're getting near real-time data that helps you make better decisions.
For example, a smart streetlight can autonomously turn off when it senses no one is around. In recent years, the city has deployed around 3,000 smart streetlights, with plans to install 1,000 more. Caldwell says the lights can show how many people or bikes go by, what the temperature's like outside, or even driver patterns in communities.
That's really critical information in terms of understanding how changes we're making to mobility infrastructure is actually being utilized by the public.
And he says the city has plans to become smarter. But the idea of a smart city doesn't appeal to all. There are a couple of concerns. One is, how does a city physically secure data that it's collecting? Darren Bennett, Chief Information Security Officer for the City of San Diego, attended a U.S. Chamber of Commerce Cybersecurity conference in San Diego last month. He says the city is always trying to stay ahead on security, at least from a hardware perspective.
We follow best practices for security. We use different security standards. We have a third-party auditor come in and monitor our work, evaluate if we're up to standards. It depends. We also know what our critical data is and where it is and protect it accordingly.
But he says it's impossible to stay ahead of every possibility.
There's no perfect entity. I always joke that it's an unfair game, right? You have a limited number of security professionals trying to secure an entity, and then you basically have almost an unlimited number of foreign hackers that are trying to get in.
And there's a second concern that was brought up at the same conference in a panel that Adam Bolio of the consulting company Deloitte was moderating.
And how are these smart cities, of San Diego going to change the way we live, and how do we prepare for to manage the risks that are going to be associated with that?
One sentence puts the smart city in proper perspective. It's basically security versus civil liberties.
UCSD's Gordon Romney says the reality of imperfect security paired with the collection of personal data is concerning.
How do we maintain the sanctity of the individual and their privacy?
Back at the city administration building, Eric Caldwell says San Diego takes both physical and personal security seriously. It's doing that by not only investing in IT technology that's secure, but also by being cautious about what type of data is being collected in the first place. For example, he says the streetlights are just collecting metadata.
It's just numbers. It's not telling you who walked by. It's not telling you where they were going. It's not following people around the city. It's not providing raw video data.
This data, he says, is intended to help the city create helpful tools.
And so one of the things that we're hoping that somebody in the community will actually do is take this information and use it to develop an application that would allow people to understand where on-street parking is available in the city.
Though Caldwell says it's only the city that's handling the data, still some residents like Brian Walker feel skeptical.
So it's like, what are they doing with the other portion of the data? Are they selling it to other people that are data mining people's everyday lives? Because that's kind of weird and creepy.
For KPBS News, I'm Shalina Chatlani.